Good evening. My name is Miles Anthony Moore, and I am recording this video for my Word 111. This speech will encompass the idea of small businesses economically, how small businesses are, in a sense, unfairly treated, and how small businesses affect the livelihood of the working individual. So, I know we're all familiar, but in 2008, the US government allowed for a $700 billion bailout to conglomerate business companies. But year after year, about 5 to 10 small businesses close, and we turn a side eye to the closing of these companies. And this is just unacceptable when you really look at how important small businesses are to the American economy, the American people, and our future. And in the Review of Economics and Statistics, The Determinant of Relative Importance of Small Businesses by Lawrence White, he details these exact same things. He details how small businesses are stepping stones to our conglomerate companies. So like Chase, how Chase is able to go in and pick up a lot of smaller banks and then encompass them to, in a sense, create a larger merger and, in a sense, create a larger company. JP Morgan is a great example of this reality. So I'm going to focus on some main points today. So one is the essential of small businesses to the American economy. So when you think about small businesses and you think about large businesses, you have to understand that small businesses, after a long period of time, after a few mergers, become these very large companies. And the reason we have small businesses is because if you date back in history, I know this is not a history lecture, but if you date back in history, you can see that there have been times where supply and demand in the market is not even. There's always going to be a higher demand for things and a lower supply, just because that's just the way the economy works and how our developing society works. And so in saying this is why we have so many small businesses. And actually, the U.S. Small Business Advocacy Administration, in their question and answer section, they say that small businesses account for 64% of the American business sector. Now, if you were to play devil's advocate, people would say, yeah, small businesses aren't necessary. Yes, I totally disagree, because small businesses are the foundation to greater things in our society. Small businesses they pave the way for these large companies to supply us with what we need, and that's how we then meet our supply and demand, because these small businesses come together and they produce large outputs and large amounts of quantity of things we need and desire, in a sense. And moving on, I'm going to talk about now the idea of how small businesses can have, if not better, some of the same benefits of larger companies. So if you take IMB, which is a large technical institution, they produce a lot of software that's put into your computers, for those that don't know. But in a sense, they have the same tax benefits as 18 small businesses together. So the same tax benefit that each company gets, one company is getting that in a lump sum. And I couldn't really consider that unfair, for the fact that sometimes these big businesses, if the small businesses aren't doing well, they tend to fail. They tend to flop, and it's not a good thing. And so having better tax benefits gives small businesses a motive to produce more, to be more efficient, because they know that they're getting support. And like I said, it's not a history election, but in late, I want to say 1870s up to like the 1920s, America had this idea called limited liability, which is that if a person wanted to, in a sense, start a company, they could put so much money in, and if the company was to fail, they would get that money back. That is a great benefit, and that is the same thing we consider a bailout. So if we allowed for bailouts for small companies, there would be no such need for, like I said earlier, a $700 billion bailout to large companies. And this information, some of the information I said, it was given to me by Small Business Economics, A Global Perspective by Zoltan J. Axe. So, our last idea that we want to encase is the livelihood through small businesses. Small businesses provide a true idea for the middle class and growing class individuals. With better benefits to small businesses, like I said, tax benefits and things of that nature, small businesses can provide more to their employees. They can provide them with better health care, better incentives to want to work. And that's where the government comes in, and we look to the government for these options. We look to the government to really support us. So we can't, as a government, growing economy as well, we cannot turn a side eye to the foundation and the building blocks that small businesses are. And this is given to us by an empirical assessment of the contribution of small businesses employment to U.S. state economic performance by Kenneth Robbins. He states within that there are truly a large amount of small businesses that outproduce large companies because they are able to consolidate what they produce. They're able to focus strongly on one area specifically and really manage and produce the right and quality things that we need. And in closing, I just want to say small businesses are not what they used to be. Small businesses are the idea of growth economically. They are the growth financially for an employee. They are the growth for conglomerate companies. They produce more than what we need, and we can no longer push them to a side and say, hey, it's not acceptable. Small businesses are the future, and they will continue to be the future. Whether we like it or not, small businesses are why we allowed for a $700 billion bailout, because that money came specifically from small businesses. And I thank you.